My name is Jose Navarro Betancourt, and I am the Scientific Director at quadraScope Ventures. The following is a tutorial on chronic inflammation. I will start by explaining why chronic inflammation is one of the root causes of aging. Then, I will cover why chronic inflammation is an important target in drug development, and highlight a few blockbuster drugs that treat inflammation. Finally, we will dive into one of our portfolio companies called Immunis. This company is in clinical trials for muscle atrophy and obesity with a treatment that fixes chronic inflammation at the level of the immune system. So chronic inflammation is a hallmark of aging, and there is a number of hallmarks that lead to chronic inflammation. Cellular senescence. Senescent cells produce inflammatory cytokines, inflammatory proteins. Genomic instability directly linked to inflammation. Mitochondrial dysfunction, there's an axis connecting mitochondrial dysfunction to inflammation. Or dysbiosis, this is all the microbiome, changes in the microbiome lead to inflammation. And or even nutrient sensing, and people know about the mTOR axis. Dysfunction of the mTOR axis in immune cells lead to inflammation. And it's also the consequence of our environment or exposure to different things. And most importantly, it's a consequence of how our immune system changes as we age. What happens with the immune system as we age is that the immune system loses diversity. So you lose the capacity to respond to infections, but you also start having low-grade systemic inflammation when you shouldn't have. You're responding to things that shouldn't be triggering an inflammatory response. So how do you fix that, right? So you can inhibit inflammation at different levels. At the level at which you inhibit the inflammation will give you a very particular set of side effects. But I think a really neat idea or creative idea to tackle inflammation is by actually fixing the immune system that becomes dysfunctional as you age. If we take a look at the best-selling drugs last year, 4 out of 10 drugs, they directly inhibit inflammation at any step of the pathway. You have Humira, which is an older drug, TNF-alpha, or you have Skyrizi, which is a newer IL-23. It's another inflammation drug, or Dupixent. And these drugs, they can treat a series of diseases related to inflammation. Most of them related to autoimmunity, because in autoimmune diseases, you have an overactivation of the immune system. This company is Immunis. And Immunis has a secretome product produced by immune system stem cells. So what's a secretome? So a secretome product is the collection of all the secretions of a cell. In this case, an immune system stem cell. And in the case of Immunis, they have around 400 components, over 400 components actually. And these include proteins, lipids, and nucleic acids, and everything that the cell produces except the cells, obviously. This is a cell-free product. And what Immunis is trying to fix is it's trying to replace all the secretions that your immune system produces when you're younger, and stops producing it somewhere along the way. So basically, they are targeting a very, very upstream or a very, very early stage in immune system dysfunction, or they are treating inflammation at the level of the immune system, which is one of the highest levels you can treat inflammation at. One of the main causes of inflammation is the loss of diversity of the immune system. So basically, Immunis is looking at this really root cause of the root cause of disease, or like the root cause of the hallmark of aging. This secretome component, 400 plus proteins, fixes inflammation in a way that a single molecule cannot. This is really powerful. And what they the way they started looking at this secretome, or how they got a hint that the immune system was important, is by looking at the satellite cells. And this is an important concept. Satellite cells are like the stem cells of the muscle. And they discovered that interactions of the immune system with these satellite cells are important in helping the muscle grow, or preventing muscle loss in the context of this use. So the stimulation of these muscle stem cells is one of the, if you want to dive into the mechanism of action of the secretome, that's one of them. It helps the muscle stem cells do what they are supposed to do, and that's maintain and regrow the muscle. Immunis has published research in animals. They have also discovered some effects in adipose tissue, in fat cells. So it seems that this treatment alone, makes the fat cells burn fat, or get rid of the fat, and become smaller. So all those hints preclinically, and then they confirm those results in cells in animals, and more importantly in humans. They actually completed a phase 1/2A clinical trial. And this type of study is interesting. It's a study where the main objective is to prove safety, but you're treating patients with a disease, so you can get some preliminary signals of efficacy. So 1/2A. So they treated patients who had knee osteoarthritis and who could not move the knee. So by not being able to move your leg, it's disuse, and that's a cause of muscle atrophy. And in this population of patients, the treatment with Immunis secretome that they call Immuna, the drug, it helped patients reduce the pain. It reduced some markers of cartilage degeneration and improved some quality of life outcomes, which is really, really important. These patient-reported outcomes. We are still waiting to see the whole results, the complete results, because Immunis is still preparing them. But the top line message is that they were very promising. They were so promising that they actually got clearance for 2 more clinical trials. One trial is it's going to be in the same kind of patients with knee osteoarthritis and immobilization. They are treating muscle atrophy. And a second clinical trial, actually, treating metabolic disease, or treating, the technical term is sarcopenic obesity. If you'd like to learn more about quadraScope and our portfolio companies, visit us at quadrascope.com. Thank you for listening.